Welcome to Melt. I'm Suresh Venkat. Today we are going to explore the plywood market, where roughly 70% of the market is dominated by small regional players. To help us understand what it takes to build a national plywood brand, we're joined by Yatnesh Pandey, the VP of Marketing at Greenply. Is plywood a B2B market, a B2C market, or a B2B2C market? How does Greenply appeal to its customers? How does ESG help in building a plywood brand? Let's find out as we get ready to melt with Yatnesh Pandey. Yatnesh, welcome to Melt.
Thank you.
Let's first start by understanding the plywood market, the one that Greenply operates in. Are we still at 70% disorganized, 30% organized, or has the nuances of the market changed a bit?
I think I will not use the word disorganized. There are the brands who are the smaller, or you can say there are the private labels, but they all are organized. Nowadays, the business ecosystem is like that. You can't do the business being a disorganized. So you have to be the organized. But yeah, it's around 75%. These private label brands or the smaller brands, they control the market. And they are very hybrid in their nature. Somewhere they play onto the price and somewhere they play into the specific scope of their positioning. So it's yes, tough to compete with them, but there is a space, and this way the national brands are doing, these categories growing.
In terms of national brands, how many players, and give us a sense of what the market dynamics there are?
So currently there are only the two national brands are there, the V and then the one of the our main competitors are there. But there are these regional brands who are growing their aspiration to be the national. So starting from the one state to two state, they are growing their influence. But still the pan-India presence, there are only the two brands.
Okay. How do you get customers to consider branded plywood? Any brand, either a small brand, one of the national brands, how do you get into the consideration set of the customer?
You see, our main theme to convince customer is to, if they can invest little bit incremental, they can get a better value or the multiply of the value. By just some incremental cost, they can get a more healthier, safer product, more durable product, and they can get the service guarantee also. So that's the way the branded plywood communicate to the audience.
Okay. So like you said, let's not call them disorganized. Let's say the smaller private label markets, like you call them, they compete on different platforms. So you find yourself competing on multiple platforms with each of them, because from your ads, it seems you're competing on strength, you're competing on health, you're competing on durability, you're competing on multiple platforms. So how do you rationalize this as a CMO that we need to compete with each of these guys at a different level, at their level?
Mainly this brand compete on the pricing front, because what generally the brands are trying to offer them, they keep them into the price discount. That's the only key thing they want to offer it. But somewhere, some regional nuances, they captured it and they tried to give it those nuances into the product feature packaging. So we try to take care of those packaging. We try to communicate we are the brand who are the more superior. We are the brand who have the complete offering for the consumer. So that's why we are able to tackle it. And more than that, as a national brand, we create a trust into the audience mind. Once they feel it, this is the brand where we can put our trust. So that's the big differentiator from this local private label brand to the national brand.
And in exchange for this extra premium that you would charge over a local brand, we've seen ads about fireproofness, about termite resistance, about various other qualities. So what would you say are the key differentiators of Greenply vis-a-vis both the local competitors as well as your national competitor?
I think one of our key differentiation is we make the more healthier and safer product. The way we do our manufacturing practices, the product is the more healthier and safer. We always bring the new innovation to the market, whether it's to the Penta 5 technology, or whether it's to the calibrated ply, or whether it's to the lifetime warranty, and now recently the zero emission ply. So these are the differentiator we always bring into the market. And this differentiations comes with the certain R&D investment. So it's not possible for those private label brand to invest for this kind of the new innovations. But yeah, they try to copy this innovation, and over the course of the time, they come out with some copy or some of the replica of this thing in a price discount. But their consumers know where they have to put their trust, where they are going to get the promised delivery, and then they get it those warranted offering.
Many customers don't think of emissions particularly when they think of plywood. They think of, say, fireproofness or termite resistance. Is emission a serious concern when it comes to plywood, and where does this emission come from?
Now, I think the health awareness and the overall the environmental awareness is going up pretty well. And after the pandemic, everyone is so cautious to check the ingredient, to check the environmental. And there are the certain cities where the emission level. You see, the Google has started putting the emission level. So now, if you open your laptop, you will get along with the temperature what is the emission levels are there. So people are becoming the cautious. And the same way, the home is the place where you spend around 60 to 70% of your time. And if you will have that emission-free space, you're gonna be the healthy one.
And how does exactly plywood emit emissions? It seems like a product that's manufactured in a factory, it comes home, it becomes furniture or cupboards or whatever else. How exactly does it emit?
So once you make the plywood, so there are the certain adhesive get used to connect those layers of the plywood, and these adhesives has those certain harmful elements which emits emission into the environment. And once you manufacture, when you create those furniture spaces, you are living and breathing close to those spaces. So that's why you are breathing or living along with those harmful emission gases. So our plywood is the more safer for the environment and more safer for the consumers also.
Yatnesh, when you're building the brand, who do you build the brand for? And I'm going to add a few layers to this question. Let's assume I'm the end consumer. I'm getting my house interiors done. I hire an architect or an interior designer who in turn specifies the plywood. And then there's a carpenter or a group of carpenters who actually make the furniture. So who is Greenply's marketing and campaign? Who is it aimed at?
We have the communication for the each setup, but I don't think we build a brand for particular one set as the consumer or things. We build a brand our brand is expression for the everyone into this ecosystem. We have the purpose of the sustainability through which we position our brand. We have an emotional anchoring of the brand is like a more caring toward the each stakeholders. We have a functional anchoring, or you can say the functional benefits of the brand, where we always put the innovation, whether it's the new technology or whether it's the more emission proof or healthier safer plywood. So that's the way, and even our experience and service delivery. So brand is not only for one particular stakeholder, but it's for all the stakeholders into the business ecosystem.
And from your experience, who makes this purchase decision? Who decides on brand A versus telling an interior designer, I just want plywood, I want good quality plywood, you decide. So who makes the actual decision from your experience?
Yeah, I think this is the question I keep asking my team, and my bosses keep asking to how to finalize who is the end decision maker. But yeah, the consumer involvement is growing up. In our category, especially the building material category, there are the consumers and the buyers are the two different person. Generally the applicators, most of the time they go to the buy, the purchase the product, and the consumers are the different. But the involvement of the consumer is going up, and I can say now it's the 50-50. Either they are going jointly or they are getting recommended. So it's more on the 50-50 side, we can say.
So you need to influence both, I imagine, consumers and interior designers. Both of them, you're saying, are 50-50 decision makers in this. So what's your baseline philosophy? If you had a limited amount of budget and you have to target both of these people, how do you allocate your budgets and your time?
Now, so in terms of the communication of the product or the brand, so we have the three fundamental positioning of the brand. As I mentioned earlier, it is in terms of the purpose of the brand, we do the very sustainable way of business, whether it is our manufacturing process or whether it is the promoting our product. So there is everywhere there is sustainability and the environmental concern is there. In terms of the emotional communication, we always use the caring as a thing. So whether it's the interior designer or applicator, we have the program and engagement, which has a caring as a core anchor. For the consumer, same way our product offering and our services are the more for the caring side, all this thing. And then the functional benefits. So our communication is on the different set based on to these three pillars of the positioning.
From the outside, I would consider Greenply to be a B2B2C brand. Is that the view internally, that you're a B2B2C? You go from your business to an architect, interior designer, carpenter to the end consumer?
We have the certain portion in the B2B also, but our communication connect with all the channel, whether it's the B2B or is the B2C. That's why we are the early starter of the communicating to the audience or communicating to the end consumer. Some of our campaigns, which are the 10 years old campaign, and still keep floating it. So they are the
on
most
YouTube,
memorable.
it's quite popular
yeah,
on YouTube.
Yeah. So I think every now and then I keep getting someone is sending me this ad was this so hilarious or this ad was this so lovely. So that's the way we started. So we had always kept the consumer in our center
So you're
stage.
B2C in a sense and
Yes,
B2B
yes,
in
yes.
another sense of the term. Let's talk about ESG. Now, I know you as a company care a lot about ESG, and does the end consumer care about ESG? Because I'll ask you this in the context of electric vehicles. Most consumers, when asked about electric vehicles, say because it's cheaper, not because it's better for the environment. Similar consumers in your category?
For us, the ESG or sustainability is not the claimed marketing position. It's our belief. Before this awareness or the consumer revolution has taken place, before that, prior to that also, we were following it up. So it's not just only the marketing differentiator to convince the audience. It's more the belief which brand is living. We have the practices like taking the FSCFM for our product. We are planting the tree. In the plywood category, you consume the timber as a raw material. So we have the mission, we have the green vision, how many trees we have to plant. I can say very proudly we are the positive surplus. We plant more tree than what the timber we consume it. Our plant and manufacturing process, they uses those zero discharge, solar power. Even we were the first one in the wood panel category to release the ESG report. So these are the practices we following it. Yeah, the evolved consumers are noticing it, and the way the consumers are becoming nowadays, the more responsible toward the environment, they give weightage to this kind of the efforts on initiative of the brand.
You invest significantly in the carpenter and the tradesman community.
Yes.
How do you measure the ROI and how do you activate these kind of initiatives and measure them?
First thing, I think if I have to say before the ROI point, the applicators are the key person in our chain who create our dream home. The first is the consumer get the brief aspiration about what the dream home they want to create. Then architect, interior designer, they draw that dream space. But ultimately the shape giving work these applicators do. So they are the very important this overall the delivery chain. We have the various engagement program for them, and we package them into the umbrella of the Green Samriddhi, and then we call them Green Samriddhi se Business Samriddhi. So there is a one side, there is a economical benefit which we communicate to them. The other side, there is a emotional connect also which brand like try to create with them. We created a one property called Hindustan Ki Shaan, where we reward them on their based on to their skill set, the way they give the design to the shape, the innovation they bring it to the design. This year, we have the one very Bollywood ace singer who has sung the song, and I think around 100,000 carpenters are going to touch base on this program. So we communicate to them in terms of the ROI. It's not just the reach and frequency we measure. We try to measure how the decision making shift is happening. The E0 is the one of the biggest success story. The way we communicate and we engage with them, they started shifting their users pattern from the emission full harmful ply to zero emission and harmless ply for the audience.
And for your E0 campaign, you signed on a Telugu star, who's now a national star,
Yes.
in the form of Junior NTR.
Yes.
I heard a couple of interviews of your CEO saying that quite often, Bollywood star-led campaign, people notice the star and not the product. How do you make sure that the product is noticed and not just the star?
You see, nowadays consumers are populating the media every day, which is into the super cluttered environment. And if you have any celeb or a star who is anchoring your message or associating your message, sometimes bring you the more receptiveness or more visibility
It's
into
hard
the
to
audience.
tell because they're endorsing so many products.
True, but our way of selecting the star, this is the first time we selected this star for communicating this messaging. The our way of selecting a star is not just only onto his face value, but we try to see how it matches with the overall the brand positioning. Is it matches with the brand intent? In case of the junior NTR, he has a legacy to bring it. He has a not only the national but the international repute with the RR movie winning the so many awards, and same time his love for the nature and environment.
And is choosing a South Indian star an indication that that's a priority market for you?
So I think the most of the South movies are doing the pan India the great work. So they are the becoming the blockbusters. So that's the hour. And more than this, he brings the freshness into this appeal.
You've also associated with IPL by sponsoring teams and running spots during the IPL campaign. What's your IPL strategy?
IPL is always the peak performance. IPL is always the skill innovation. And I think these two things the brand Greenply also possess. So these are the two matching value proposition. And beside this, it brings the huge reach to us in terms of the engaging with our audience. We had taken a partnership with the earlier the Kolkata Knight Riders. Now, first the UP team. When the UP team came, Lucknow Supergiant, we had taken the principal and sponsorship with them. And this association is going very strong. And we are not able to build the brand into the north regional influence of this thing, but we are able to take this association forward to the pan India level because we IPL and the Greenply both has a those matching peak performance and the skill innovations.
And how do you measure the ROI of your IPL engagement?
We are the brand which has a long consideration set. You don't decide your home interior into the couple of week cycle. You minimum take 3 to 6 months to decide.
There are many people who decide
and
as well.
many
It's
people
not
will decide. So you need to have the events or you need to have the media property where you can have the high reach and then you can make the more involvement. So now we can understand what kind of the property IPL is. So it helps us to deliver to that kind of the reach and then build the engagement with our audience.
You mentioned this a little while ago, Yatnesh, that you can be an invisible brand because I might buy Greenply, but the moment it becomes furniture or it gets covered in a laminate or anything else, I know nobody else is going to know it's Greenply. Typically, when I buy a premium product, a car or a piece of clothing, there's a bit of flaunt value in buying a premium product. How do you compensate for the fact that you cannot flaunt the fact that people have bought your brand?
You see, so this question is quite common. I keep facing it, all these things. So we are like an Intel inside. So whatever the good screen you have, whatever the good keyboard you
There's still a sticker
have.
that says Intel inside.
But you have to have the good processor inside. So same way, whatever the good aesthetic value of the laminates you use or the polish you use, if your plywood is strong, sturdy and durable and the safer for your environment, then only you are going to get that's the delivery of the furniture.
But there's no way you're going to put a sticker outside saying Greenply inside?
No, I think the consumer are aware about it, and once they procure or once the work starts, the delivery of the material happen. They see the branding and the ply faces speak about what kind of the products is it, how the manufacturing process. So they understand all this thing. And the other ways beside the product, the brand also communicated very well. So we keep engaging them round the year. There is a saliency programs are there, which they interact with the brand and they understand what's.
Okay. Now let's shift gears and talk about data. Now you have said before that the world is moving from the knowledge economy to the allocation economy. First, can you explain what you mean by that?
You see, the earlier the capital was a denominator for the competition. That's the way the Walmart or the you can say the Ford got built, and the knowledge was also one of the denominator. Now it's not. It's the time. It's the speed. We don't sell product anymore. We sell the perspective of experience of product with the speed of science. So that's the one change. The second is the earlier the communication or the ads are got sold where the publication got sold. But now the ads are got sold based on to your behavior, based on to your action, based on to your interest. So it's now all the allocations are happening. So this has been shift is there. And that's why I mentioned this quote, we are moving from knowledge to the allocation economy.
And what's the impact of this shift on your data strategy?
We have to nurture our consumer who enter into the awareness phase to purchase the product. To after that, we have to handhold first 3-4 months so that if any kind of the dissonance, any kind of, because in the home interior, the application can bring it to the any kind of the issues to the audience. So you have to help them within the environment. There can be some issues are there, or maybe some kind of the things applicator make it. So you have to handle them. So we need to nurture the data in the each cohort. We need to nurture them. We need to help them. We need to understand the signal. We take both the side of the data. There is a syndicated data, which we keep getting it from the overall the digital environment, and same time we have the real-time data also, and we keep establishing the relationship, the calculated one, then intuitive, and then take.
I imagine like many new age CMOs, you have a data science team that reports to you. What's the task that you've set for your data science team currently? What are they working on today?
You see, nowadays the marketer has to take the decision based on to the projection, and this team, they keep making the projection, whatever the established data points you have to take the calculation, and then you have to take the trending based on to your intuition also. So this team keep helping us, like they help us in terms of the applicator. How can we retain them? How we can make the acquisition? So they predict the churn for us. They predict the product upselling for us. So these are the things which we do, and then we help and facilitate our frontline sales team so that they can use these data inputs and then do the more accurate targeting.
But
and
you
selling.
also said marketers' intuition. So how do you reconcile all the reams of data you get with your marketer's intuition?
I think somewhere you can say is the mix of the hindsight, insight, both the things you have to use it.
So
and
hindsight, insight, and foresight. You
right,
need all three.
foresight, yes.
Okay.
And then these three things you have to package it and then give it. We get success. Sometimes we get the learning, and again you move forward from the learning to take it to the new action and then get the success again.
Yatnesh, final question. You've personally dabbled a lot with AI, am I correct? Where have you seen the sharpest fit for AI in the work that you do? Can AI replace a marketer, for instance?
I think there are the certain advantage which AI bring it, and as a marketer we had used it. So we have a few success case example for us. First, we tried it the personalization. So when we signed the Lucknow Supergiant team, and along with the team we get it the some players shoot and all. How can we use it? So we created a personalization. The first AI attempt we made it, and then we created the personalization. We created a 20,000 plus personal message for our key influencer and the whosoever they are there into stakeholder. So this was the first use case, and it's got a very good response. Second, we tried it the creative versioning using the AI tools for this last campaign which we did it, and with the junior NTR. So there is a limitation how much the celeb shoot we can do it, but we did the creative versioning and the across the language and across the interest basis. So these are the two use cases there. Moving forward, what I see, this generative AI in last 1 year has moved from the promise to the practical deployment, and we as a marketer is seeing it on this thing. So I think I will make the attempt to make the full stack automation from brief aspiration to creative development to the delivery using this generative AI. And your first part of the question, is it the generative AI going to replace the marketers or not? I think it's still the long way to go, because the way the machine understand the language top down, it's not the view human being, because we take it the bottoms up. So it's still gonna take time. The relation between the machine and the human are changing, but neither human is going to get replaced or neither machine is going to get replaced. But this only thing is the evolution of the relation between the both of us. So that's we need to see.
All right, that brings us to the end of the interview, Yatnesh. Thank you for talking to Melt.
Thank you, Suresh.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Melt. You can follow Melt on social media. The handle is Ready to Melt, or simply log on to readytomelt.com. If you'd like to follow me, I'm @Suvenk on X. Till next week, goodbye and thanks for watching.